So to draw on that, the next question is, so if we are struggling to keep that momentum as a society, the burden is obviously not on society's shoulders completely to address the issue. So do you guys believe that gender-based violence is more of a political, a social issue, or cultural issue?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, sure.
So gender-based violence is both a cultural and a political issue. And the reason I say that is when it comes to the cultural aspect of it, it is deeply rooted in patriarchy and gender. And okay, so it makes it worse that there are gender stereotypes involved towards less marginalized genders. And we're not saying that, and by this, let me further elaborate that when I say marginalized genders, this could be men and women, race, color, it doesn't matter. It affects a broad spectrum of people. And so in that sense, it is cultural. And greatly rooted in patriarchy, right? And then it is political in the sense that there is a lack of accountability, and then the support is underfunded. So if you look at how many shelters there are, how many people are homeless, how many people have places to go, because it's easy for somebody to give you the advice that, oh, go open a case, go do this, and give you the next steps. But what happens now, because the unfair part is a lot of women and children tend to be displaced in such situations, in such settings, you find that women have to move out of the house. They have to move out with kids. But if you look at the shelters, they are underfunded, right? If you look at how many shelters are there in a specific area, right? We're not saying build more shelters, because then that's not a very holistic approach to it. But the current systems that are available do not make it easy for survivors to carry on and move forward. It doesn't make it easy for them to take the next step, right? People will say, oh, leave your husband and go away. Do you understand? So support is greatly underfunded, and there is an absence of comprehensive policies surrounding gender-based violence. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Which are reflected in the system's failure, but continue, sorry.
No, you're slaying. You're slaying. Love this. So in terms of gender-based violence being some both political and social, do you think that if it were to change politically, it would make the social impact more impactful? If the political policies, because you're mentioning that the reason why there's a failure in addressing gender-based violence is because policies and political structures are failing to implement and put in place systems that protect people who are victims of gender-based violence, and funding systems that are there to support them.
Okay, so with gender-based violence, the thing is, it is under-addressed on the in the national spaces, right? So if you look at it on ground level, your councillors, your community, your ward councillors, sure, it may be addressed a lot more often there. But in terms of national address, like it is under-addressed on bigger social platforms. So if I'll make an example, do you remember when we had the case, and then just after there were these guys that ran they had a whole running from Joburg to Cape Town, I'm not sure, or Cape Town to Joburg, I don't remember exactly how that went, but when the president spoke on it, he was saying, oh, he's so proud and how they've gotten his attention, which was so ironic because in that same week we had the Click story and how people were trying their best to get it to national level, and for some reason it never went further than I think it should have. So in that sense, it is under-addressed on the national level.
On the national level.
If you look at it really, like it's a pandemic at this point, but it's still not been declared a pandemic.
It has actually been declared a pandemic.
Really?
By our president 3 years ago. And do you think ever since it was declared a pandemic, they even opened a ministry to try and combat it and address this issue? Do you think there's been tangible change that you've seen in how gender-based violence is handled in your communities and people around you?
With recent events, I'm going to be honest and say no. Do you need me to elaborate further on that?
Yeah, you can.
Do you guys want to weigh in? Do you guys actually think that since it was declared a pandemic 3 years ago, which I'm just finding out, do you think there's been tangible evidence of that being effective? Like, what have you seen in your community that shows you that, okay, this is working, or, oh, the declarance of gender-based violence as a national issue is a great thing, or it's helped us, or it's steered us forward? And if you do, in what ways? Because if I'm being honest, it seems there's not much that has changed. I'll be honest. Every day we are marching for Klukle, we are marching for Olorato, we are marching for so many more victims that cannot speak for themselves. So if we're talking about the logistics of things, like on paper and theory, sure, maybe that's an amazing power move, but realistically, in our communities, in our everyday lives, we're still very much affected. We're feeling our lives. We are told 5 o'clock, you must be in the house. Anything after that, that's you putting a bounty on your own head. So people are not free.
I can say from personal experience, like at my school, there's this, no name dropping, no, we can't name drop.
No, you can't. For the protection of people's identities.
Even though they don't deserve it. Anyway. So there's this specific person, can I say gender at least?
Sure.
There's this boy. There's this boy at my school, and do you guys know a Napoleon complex?
No.
It's basically when short people like Mahotso make up for their height. By being mean.
Okay, okay, I got that.
Another word is short men simply.
Yeah, short mitso or Napoleon complex. And Napoleon wasn't even short, he was just made fun of by, I think, the French. No, he's French. He was made fun of the Brits and I think the Americans for being short when he was actually a man at average height. So, okay, off topic, but anyway, that boy has a Napoleon complex at school, and he's one of the worst. Okay, that's a bit harsh. No, he's one of the worst people I have ever met, honestly. He is very violent towards girls, very aggressive, and the thing with our community so far is that we've normalized it so much. When a boy plays rough with the girls at my class, they think, oh my gosh, he has a crush on me, or oh my gosh, I'm getting attention. And they also think the attention that they get from older males is also good, because I'm sure you passed by maybe a taxi rank and then, they whistle at you or things like that.
Calls and whatnot.
Yeah, cat calls. And I find it's so disgusting that the girls nowadays think, oh, I'm so pretty, he's looking at me, or he's beating me up. And I've seen the way this boy plays with girls. He's very rough and aggressive. And I told him, please, I don't want you to touch me or to play with me like that, because I don't think punching someone in the face and saying, oh, I'm just messing around, it's funny. So that's why I'm saying
The awkward laugh.
awkward laugh, like, oh
No. Like
like
no.
no. But basically, I just seen the way he's played with like the girl, and the fact that they think it makes sense. And teachers as well. He plays with the girls like that. I won't even want to say plays. He beats them up in front of teachers, and we have our Zulu teacher who says you should not hit girls, and he's allowed to disrespect her. Basically, I remember afternoon during service day, we were all chilling in class, and I remember I think he swore and he hit a girl, and she laughs it off because to her it's normal. Like, he's swearing at me and he's hitting me, it's normal. And all of a sudden the teacher enters and he's like, you will not be hitting girls in this class, you will not be hitting girls. And he just sits there minding his business. Students are laughing, thinking this is one big joke. And this incident was never reported to teachers. And I've even seen teachers downstairs allow gender-based violence to happen. I remember a girl comes in and she says, no, this boy touched me inappropriately. And our principal, our accountant, he goes, is he really like that? No, you're joking, you're lying. And then he enters and then they laugh about it. Like, it's something funny if a boy touches you inappropriately.
I feel like social media also promotes a lot of gender-based violence, and kids only do what they watch, what they see. So yeah, what they hear, Mikey see, Mikey do. So the law, the system is also very inconsistent, and they are slow. I mean, we have a lot of survivors out there who still feel like their cases haven't been handled well, or they haven't gotten any justice for whatever happened to them.